Samsung S22 Ultra versus iPhone 14 Pro Max. Quick comparison in 5 minutes. Want the biggest and the best? In the smartphone world, that means either the Samsung S22 Ultra or the iPhone 14 Pro Max. Both are ideal. They are large, have large batteries, and superb cameras. But how do they differ? Let's take a quick look at how the Samsung S22 Ultra and iPhone 14 Pro Max differ in a few key areas. You'll be able to see for yourself which one is the better phone. Make sure you stick around until the end when we give you our final thoughts. Dimensions and build quality. How about starting with a look at the dimensions and build quality of each phone? The Samsung S22 Ultra is, as you would expect from its name, the larger phone. It's also slightly heavier than the iPhone 14 Pro Max. S22 Ultra utilizes Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on the front and back, while iPhone 14 Pro Max utilizes ceramic shield on the front glass. Despite their durability, the S22 Ultra's curved display is more prone to cracking than the iPhone's flat one. Both phones are IP68 dust and water resistant, so you don't need to worry about taking either one out in the rain or dropping it in a puddle. Camera. Now it's time for the all-important camera comparison. The iPhone 14 Pro series experienced one of the most significant camera upgrades in recent times, with the transition from a 12-megapixel primary camera to a 48-megapixel quad-pixel sensor. Samsung will gladly let you know that the S22 Ultra has a 108-megapixel primary sensor. Despite this, both devices will default to 12 megapixels due to pixel binning. The S22 Ultra's intensive image processing will result in a brighter photo in low light, but this isn't always preferable because there are occasions when you want to capture the mood of the night. Although the iPhone 14 Pro Max's low-light images aren't quite as bright, they're much less grainy. Once again, the iPhone has superior video playback quality over the Samsung Galaxy. While the S22 Ultra's ability to record an 8K resolution is certainly remarkable from a technological standpoint, it's also one of the many advertised smartphone features you're unlikely to ever really use. The iPhone takes better portrait photos, but the S22 Ultra's 10x optical zoom makes distant subjects seem crisp and clear. Processor. Where are my tech heads at? This is the section for you. The S22 Ultra Snapdragon 8 Generation 1 Exynos 2200 CPU can't keep up with the iPhone 14 Pro Max's A16 Bionic chip in terms of raw processing power. The iPhone 13 series A15 Bionic was already notably more powerful than the finest that Qualcomm had to offer, and the gap between the two had widened even further with this release. I'm not trying to imply that the S22 Ultra is weak in any way. It's quite doubtful that you'll notice any difference in day-to-day use. However, the iPhone's superior performance in this area makes it a better option for serious gamers. Battery. Battery life is one of the most important considerations when choosing a smartphone. After all, what good is owning a device if it only lasts for half a day? Battery tests reveal that both devices have nearly comparable battery life, which is most likely owing to the new always-on display. However, this is not a cause for concern. The 4323 mAh cell of the iPhone 14 Pro Max will nevertheless provide more battery life than the S22 Ultra's 5000 mAh cell significantly. However, the latter charges faster because of its 45-watt fast charging capabilities. However, you shouldn't let this get to you. In spite of the S22 Ultra's larger 5000 mAh battery, the iPhone 14 Pro Max's 4323 mAh battery provides much more runtime. Not to mention that S22 Ultra provides fast charging support. RAM and storage. Now comes another important spec when it comes to a smartphone: RAM and storage. As every Apple user knows, Apple Silicon is incredibly resourceful and doesn't need nearly as much RAM as Android phones do. In other words, the iPhone 14 Pro Max's 6 gigs of RAM will still provide the same level of multitasking performance as the Galaxy S22 Ultra's 8 gigs of RAM. But if you get your hands on a 12 gig variant, you may notice a subtle difference. The base models of both devices start with 128 gigs of internal storage and go all the way up to 1 terabyte. Neither of the two phones have a slot for a micro SD card, which would let you add more space. Price. Now comes the moment of truth. Which phone is more affordable? The starting price for the Galaxy S22 Ultra was $1199, while the top-end model with 12 gigs of RAM and 1TB storage was $1599. On the other hand, the base model of the iPhone 14 Pro Max cost $1099, while the model with 1TB of storage cost $1599. We can say that the price is almost the same for both of these devices. Now that we've looked at all the key specs and features of these two phones, it's time to give our verdict. If we talk about iPhone 14, you get all the additional features including better cameras, a dynamic island cutout, crash detection, emergency SOS via satellite, and more with the same price as iPhone 13 Pro Max. Of course, Samsung is also a strong rival. The Galaxy S22 Ultra's screen is particularly great if you watch a lot of videos on your phone. Also, it has 45-watt quick charging, an integrated S Pen, a more engaging camera experience, and perhaps a superior camera module design. So, as with all comparisons, in the end, it's your personal preference that decides which phone to buy. But at least now you know what to expect from these two phones. What are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments. Also, tell us, which phone are you planning to buy? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching and see you next time.